Oh, hello there. This is the first in a series, probably, of videos in which I try to explain for you complicated-ish plot arcs from DC comic books. I say DC specifically because I do not read anything else. And to wit, I should mention, by way of introduction, that I am an administrator on the DC database, which is probably the largest wiki related to DC Comics on the internet. My name is Townsend. That's my name. Sorry. I'm from Canada, so that would explain my lack / having of an accent. Anyway, let's get started. Let's get down to the business of this. The first arc that I have chosen to explain is called Birds of Prey, Trouble in Mind. It's a pun. You'll get it later. It starts off with this fella named Charlie Keene. And he is a reporter for the Gotham Gazette, and he has some informant that has told him that there is this all-girl team of vigilantes or something, and yeah, he's been investigating it. So he goes to this church to meet his informant one night, and then it turns out that his informant is a bunch of assassins dressed in invisible suits who are gonna kill him. So he gets saved by the team he was investigating, the Birds of Prey, who are only two at this time. Two, there we go, over here. Two at this time. They are Black Canary and Starling. And they save his ass. And then they try to get him out of the city. Because he's been targeted for death, obviously, so they try to get him to a plane at the airport. At which point he receives a text message and then explodes in their faces. The text message has this nursery rhyme on it, so you can put things together in your mind. I'll maybe get to that later. So they take a sample from his body secretively, and they take it to this doctor that Starling knows named Trevor Cahill, and he discovers some chemicals in his blood. And one of those chemicals is this experimental stroke drug. And he's all like, why has this guy got an experimental stroke drug in his system? And so they check and see which facilities have been using this stroke drug, and 4 of 5 of them have been broken into recently. Fancy that. So they check out the 5th one, obviously, because it would be dumb to check out the other 4. And then there's a bunch of dudes in invisible suits, of course. So they fight those guys, and then all of a sudden there's this voice in their head, and the voice is all like, I'm a jerk. And it turns out to be Choke, this fellow or lady named Choke who can talk in people's brains and make them explode when they read nursery rhymes on their phones, and have an experimental stroke drug in their system. Apparently. And okay, I've got some notes over here, so I have to read these just to make sure. Okay, yeah. At some point, Katana and Poison Ivy decide to join the team, and Batgirl too. So there you go. They're on the team. And then they get on a train for some reason, and I don't remember why, and stop these 2 dudes from blowing up. And the 2 dudes are supposed to be some kind of radio transmitters, receiving or sending. I don't remember. I say I don't remember, but I actually do kind of remember. And the thing that I'm remembering is that it's not really explained. That's why I'm saying I don't remember. Maybe to spare the writer and editor of that book, who I will not name despite the fact that it's totally obvious if you read the book, because it's right there in the credits. I'm trying to spare them some embarrassment. Not really, no. Anyway, they're on this train, guys almost blow up, and then it turns out that Dinah, Black Canary, can hear this Choke's voice in her head, and It's saying the nursery rhyme, and oh my god, she might explode. So Starling punches her in the face, and she goes unconscious and is not gonna blow up, fortunately. And then they take her to Dr. Kyle, and he's all like, why do you have a stroke drug in your system? What the hell? And she's all like, flirty, flirty, and he's all like, flirty, flirty, and then there's some sexual tension. You can feel it there in the book as you're reading it, and you'll be like, ooh, sexual tension. Or maybe it's just written there that there's some sexual tension. You'll experience it in whichever way you feel suitable. Anyway, somehow they find out that these invisible dudes, who are called cleaners and wear these invisible suits and stuff, are living in between the floors of prominent Gotham buildings, just like in Being John Malkovich, where the guy goes to work on like the 35th and a half floor, the 35th and a half floor. So much foam there. Yeah, on a floor between floors for some reason, which I will add is a plot device which is used in Batman, The Court of Owls. And so it seems a little cheap that it's used here, even though it happens here first. Or does it? I don't even know. It doesn't. I don't know. I'm kind of mad about that. Because they've got, like, overlap. Maybe the talons from Batman... I've got my hand over here and I'm holding... Okay, I'll scooch over. The talons from Batman and then the cleaners, and they just hang out together on their middle of the floor thing. Or they're in the same building and they don't even know it. What's going on here? Moving on. So they go to one of these floors between the floors, and it turns out there's like a million of these cleaner dudes that I already mentioned that I don't know why they're called cleaners. There's no explanation. Shut up! And, then they fight them, obviously, because that's what you do in a comic book, you fight them. And then all of a sudden, Choke's like, nuh-uh, you're not gonna remember this shit. And then sends them out into the street all of a sudden, and they're like, what happened? I don't remember fighting anybody. I'm not even on the team anymore. What's going on? And that kind of pisses people off for a while. And then Starling goes to see some friend of hers named June, and June's all like, I don't want to see you. And she's all like, whatever, I'm happy you're here. But then we never see June again, and I have no idea what purpose that scene serves. And then also, Starling, like, goes to a bridge that there was a note on her arm that apparently Black Canary wrote for her, but maybe didn't because of that weird thing that happened before where they forgot stuff. And then it turns out that a bunch of guys are waiting for her to kill her there, so clearly it wasn't Black Canary who sent her there, because that would have been a real bitchy thing to do. Alright. And then after that, there's some dude named Eric, and the dude named Eric is like a sleeper agent. All of these cleaner guys are sleeper agents for Choke, and they all put on their fancy costumes from mind control hypnosis magic. And this Eric dude, they find this Eric dude, and they're all like, dude, you got mind control problems. And he's all like, what? I don't believe it. And then they're like, no, you do. And so they go to his office, and they use him as a mole. And then it turns out that everybody in the office is a sleeper agent, and so everybody in the office like turns into a cleaner and is all like, we're gonna beat the crap out of you. And then Dinah's all like, I'm gonna beat Dinah's Black Canary, I think I said that already. Dinah and everybody are all like, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you guys, who are gonna beat the crap out of us. And then somewhere in the middle of that big fight, Dinah's all like, haha, I know who Choke is. I know how this is happening. Except she never tells us, so thanks. Anyway, it turns out that Choke is Trevor Cahill, the doctor who she had squirmy feelings for. Maybe. And so they corner him in some, like, car park or something, and then they're all like, you're Choke, and he's all like, nah, yeah, I might be. And then Katana cuts off his head. And then like 5 minutes later, she's like, wait a sec. No, he wasn't Choke. And that's the end of the story. That's the end. That's the end for you. You don't get to read anymore until later. And it wouldn't help, because after that, Choke is never mentioned again. The whole thing is never mentioned again. In fact, the next issue, which is number 8, I think, the next issue, which is collected in the next trade paperback. I gotta stop referencing over here because you can't see. The next trade paperback. It has nothing to do with the next story, so I don't know why it's in there. But anyway, there's this issue where they fight a bunch of assassins in a burning building or something, and then it turns out that Dinah killed her husband Kurt a long time ago, and that created a whole lot of issues for me because of continuity-related things that I will maybe get into another time. But anyway, that stuff sort of runs through the plot, but I don't know why that's there. It's really dumb. And Choke's never mentioned again. The end. So just enjoy staring into my eyes for a few seconds while I try to think of something else to say. Nope, that's it. Except I got a bunch of glare in my eyes and now I can't see. Anyway, thanks for stopping by and listening to my stupid thing where I do stupid things. And talk about stupid things. Stupid things. See you later.